Stage effect damaged, Jungkook performs dangerous reflexive motion to protect Jimin on day 2 in Baltimore. Baltimore was once again thrown into excitement by an unexpected moment involving BTS's Jungkook and Jimin during the day 2 performance preparations. Amid the soundcheck atmosphere that was supposed to run smoothly and casually, fans' attention was unexpectedly drawn to a brief moment when the stage area suddenly changed. The situation became increasingly dramatic because Jimin was quite close to an area suspected of having a minor malfunction on stage. A trailing cable, a shifted prop, or a stage effect. Activating faster than expected could cause a performer to lose their balance in a matter of seconds. However, before the situation could escalate into something more serious, Jungkook reportedly showed an immediate, spontaneous reaction. In the depiction of that moment, Jungkook was seen moving closer to Jimin and reflexively reaching for his hand or clothing to ensure Jimin did not step too far into an area that could potentially make him trip. His movement happened so fast that it seemed to give Jungkook no time to think beforehand. One step, one hand gesture, and Jimin was instantly in a safer position. Precisely because it happened so briefly, the moment felt all the more dramatic. There was no long warning, no chance to prepare. Jungkook seemed to react instantly to what he saw right before his eyes. For armies who pay attention to their interactions, Jungkook's attentiveness was naturally the most engaging part of the incident. Jungkook is known as a performer who is immensely focused when on stage. Because of this, when something around him changes suddenly, his reaction can appear extremely spontaneous. In situations like this, a teammate's reflex to protect someone nearby can emerge completely unplanned. And this time, the person next to Jungkook was The moment then left an impression that was hard to ignore. Jungkook seemingly pays attention not only to his own performance, but also to the safety of the person beside him. Imagine if Jungkook had been late to notice Jimin's position. One wrong step or a foot catching on a cable could have caused Jimin to lose his balance in the middle of the stage. Although a minor disturbance might not necessarily lead to anything serious, Jungkook's reflexes proved just how quickly he responds to his surroundings. What made ARMYs even more touched was the way Jungkook did it. It did not look like an act made for the cameras. There were no exaggerated gestures. Everything happened so quickly and naturally, as if Jungkook's body moved before his mind even had time to process the situation. Jimin also appeared to resume his activities after the situation was resolved. Yet, for fans, those few seconds were more than enough to become a major topic of conversation. Moreover, the close relationship between Jimin and Jungkook makes even small interactions between them frequently draw attention. From reminding each other and keeping an eye on each other's positions, to spontaneously helping when one seems to struggle, every tiny movement from the two rarely escapes RMY's spotlight. The minor incident on the Baltimore Day 2 stage felt different because it occurred in an unexpected atmosphere. Jungkook did not need to say anything to show his care. His quick-moving hand was a response far clearer than words. Even when Jimin might not have realized how close he was to that potential small hazard, Jungkook seemed to have noticed it first. That is where the real drama lay. It was not about how big the stage malfunction was, but about how fast someone reacts when the person next to them needs help. For ARMYs, Jungkook's spontaneous action once again highlighted another layer of their relationship amid the stage lights, choreography, crowd shouts, and various show effects. there was still a small gesture of care taking place in a split second. And sometimes, it is precisely that kind of small care that touches fans the most. Jungkook might have simply pulled Jimin's hand or clothing to keep him away from an area considered risky. But for Armwise, that simple action felt like a silent message. When something happens, Jungkook will react. Baltimore Day 2 ultimately left behind more than just stories about BTS's performance on stage. That brief moment also made fans reflect, once again, on how strong the instinct of mutual protection is between Jimin and Jungkook. Because on stage, everything can be planned: the music, the choreography, the lighting, and even the spectacular effects. But one thing cannot be predicted: a person's reflexes when seeing someone they care about in a potentially dangerous situation. And in those split seconds, Jungkook chose to move first. What made the scene even more captivating was its timing. Jimin appeared to still be following the prep flow when Jungkook had already reacted. It was as if there was a fraction of a second where Jungkook understood the situation before Jimin even truly realized what was near his steps. That brief movement immediately pulled everyone's attention toward the two of them. After Jimin's position was safe again, the atmosphere slowly returned to normal. However, their expressions and responses made the moment feel even more vivid. Jimin seemed to just realize that Jungkook had just helped him, while Jungkook redirected his attention back to the stage. No long conversation was needed because everything happened so fast. To Armwise, it was precisely that simplicity that made the moment special. Jungkook did not need to make a grand gesture to show care. A single hand moving at the right time was enough to demonstrate that he was paying attention to Jimin's position even while busy with his own performance preparations. The scene also made fans notice, once again, how important mutual trust is among performers. On stage, every member must know each other's positions to move safely and cohesively. When an unexpected minor change occurs, the ability to react quickly becomes crucial. In that moment, Jungkook demonstrated a spontaneous response to Jimin's positioning. Perhaps that is why those few seconds felt much longer to the Armwise who witnessed it. A minor occurrence almost went unnoticed, but Jungkook's swift movement turned it into a moment that continues to be discussed. The stage resumed as usual. Jimin continued his activities, and Jungkook returned his focus to his performance. But one thing was already caught on camera when the situation changed in seconds. Jungkook appeared to be the first person to move to ensure Jimin stayed safe. Right after the situation calmed down, ARMY's attention turned even more toward Jimin. His simple reaction seemed to show that he understood what Jungkook had just done. There was no overreaction, no attempt to make the incident the center of attention. Jimin simply continued his preparations while Jungkook did the same. Yet, that brief interaction was enough for fans to capture the quiet attentiveness between them. For Armwise, moments like this feel different because they do not require many words. In the middle of the busy neither of them needed to pause their activities just to discuss what had happened. Jungkook helped when he saw a potentially disruptive situation. Then Jimin accepted the help and refocused. That simplicity made the scene feel all the more natural. Interestingly, Jungkook's attentiveness did not seem to stop after Jimin returned to his position. For a moment, fans could glimpse the impression that Jungkook was still ensuring his were under control before fully returning to stage activities. Small moments like this are easy to miss if one only watches the overall performance. But when re-watching the footage, that detail becomes far more visible. Their chemistry once again became a point of interest, not because of a grand scene or an intentionally dramatized interaction, but because of a spontaneous response occurring amidst ordinary activities. Jimin did not need to ask for help, and Jungkook did not need to wait for instructions. One side realized the situation. The other responded immediately, and then everything proceeded as before. In the end, perhaps only armies who pay attention to such fine details realized how fascinating that moment was. The stage went on, the music played again, and both returned to their respective roles. Yet, among all the Baltimore Day 2 preparations, that single brief scene left a lasting impression. Jungkook moved when Jimin needed help, Jimin recognized it, and both went back to their activities as if nothing had happened. Precisely because it unfolded so simply, the moment became all the more unforgettable. Right after the situation calmed down, ARMY's attention turned even more toward Jimin. His simple reaction seemed to show that he understood what Jungkook had just done. There was no overreaction, no attempt to make the incident the center of attention. Jimin simply continued his preparations, while Jungkook did the same. Yet that brief interaction was enough for fans to capture the quiet attentiveness between them. For ARMYs, moments like this feel different because they do not require many words. In the middle of the busy soundcheck, neither of them needed to pause their activities just to discuss what had happened. Jungkook helped when he saw a potentially disruptive situation. Then Jimin accepted the help and refocused. That simplicity made the scene feel all the more natural. Interestingly, Jungkook's attentiveness did not seem to stop after Jimin returned to his position. For a moment, fans could glimpse the impression that Jungkook was still ensuring his surroundings were under control before fully returning to stage activities. Small moments like this are easy to miss if one only watches the overall performance. But when rewatching the footage, that detail becomes far more visible. Their chemistry once again became a point of interest, not because of a grand scene or an intentionally dramatized interaction, but because of a spontaneous response occurring amidst ordinary activities. Jimin did not need to ask for help, and Jungkook did not need to wait for instructions. One side realized the situation, the other responded immediately, and then everything proceeded as before. In the end, perhaps only armies who pay attention to such fine details realized how fascinating that moment was. The stage went on, the music played again, and both returned to their respective roles. Yet, among all the Baltimore Day 2 preparations, that single brief scene left a lasting impression. Jungkook moved when Jimin needed help. Jimin recognized it, and both went back to their activities as if nothing had happened. Precisely because it unfolded so simply, the moment became all the more unforgettable.